Crime movies are a dime a dozen. For every 10 released, you may get one or two that truly stand out. However, when it comes to the gangster movies, that number becomes even rarer as most are just copy and paste versions of former big releases. That doesn't mean there aren't some truly astonishing and captivating films in the genre, with characters you love to hate and a plot so tense you'll be sitting at the edge of your seat to see who makes it out alive. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 more great gangster films. Number 1, American Me. This 1992 crime drama was produced and directed by Edward James Olmos, who also stars as Montoya Santana. William Forsythe and Pepe Serna also star in this film as fellow members of the Mexican Mafia from 1950 until 1980. This is a work of fiction, but goes into detail about the ups and downs of Santana's life as he infiltrates the lifestyle, only wanting to become a family man later on in life. Montoya Santana, young and just out of reform school, gets introduced to gang life before an 18-year prison sentence where he rises through the ranks of a heinous drug trade. But once you're in the life, there's no escape, no matter how hard he tries. Though this film is considered fictional, there are a lot of truths to it, especially once you're in, you're never getting out. One prime example is Anna Lizagara, who is known as the gang lady and played the grandmother in the film, was murdered due to her involvement 8 months after the film completed. Actor Danny Trejo has also stated that there's been numerous deaths surrounding informants for the film, stating that he is only aware of 10 people losing their lives. The film is dark and solemn, but serves the purpose of exploiting the activities of gangs and mafia alike, to bring awareness to the ominous path that lays in front of those willing to travel it. Take some time to check this out over on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 2, Carlito's Way. In 1993, director Brian De Palma teams up with Al Pacino again in this crime drama that's based off the novels Carlito's Way and After Hours by Judge Edwin Torres. We follow Carlito, played by Pacino, as he wants to retire to paradise and leave his criminal history where it belongs, in the past. But he's brought back in and now has to figure out how to stay out of jail and alive. There's a star-studded cast as well, featuring Sean Penn, John Leguizamo, Viggo Mortensen, Penelope Ann Miller, and Luis Guzman, in roles that showcase each of their talents. Producer Martin Bregman was shocked to see all the negative reviews at first, but was later pleased when they were retracted. However, De Palma wasn't surprised, as he knew most of the people involved would be scrutinized due to previous engagements, scandals, or projects, but was rather shocked to see the sales of the film continue to rise and the cult following that appeared in later years. Some may say that the pacing is all over the place, but honestly, isn't that like life in general? 1 minute everything's coming at you, the next you have a lull. Either which way, the film is brilliant and really showcases the darker aspects of city life. Be sure to enjoy this adventure on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 3, Donnie Brasco. Al Pacino and Johnny Depp share the silver screen in this 1997 crime drama directed by Mike Newell that's based on Joseph D. Piston and Richard Woodley's book titled Undercover: Life in the Mafia. Depp portrays Joseph D. Piston, an FBI agent in the 70s, whose newest case is to infiltrate the mafia as Donnie and rise through the ranks. Pacino plays Lefty Ruggiero, one of the mafia's hitmen who has Donnie's back. And as this progresses, Donnie is left to wonder how long till everything hits the fan. Al Pacino gives one of his best performances in years, and adding Johnny Depp as the titular character brings some real chemistry to the film as the two grow to have such respect for each other and becoming the best of friends throughout. Filled with emotion, the ins and outs of mafia life, the film is bound to leave you feeling something, especially with a score that brings such intensity to what you're seeing. This is a definite need to watch, so head on over to MGM Plus, Sling, Roku, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango to witness this story unfold. Number 4. Eastern Promises. Naomi Watts and Viggo Mortensen star in this 2007 gangster film directed by the wonderful David Cronenberg, following a midwife for the Russian mafia in London. Anna, played by Watts, is on the journey to find a proper home for a baby of a deceased 14-year-old who was trapped in sex trafficking. Given everything that's been going on in our recent years, this can be a touchy subject for some, but it does a beautiful job channeling characters who would go through anything to right the wrongs of their people. Yes, there is a 14-year-old girl who had to succumb to the torturous life and ultimately died. But the midwife is the one on a mission to bring the baby back to its original family, even though the Russian mafia does not want this, telling her essentially to keep her head down. With the sensitive topic at hand, the film received critical acclaim, even going on to be nominated for many awards, including Best Motion Picture at the 65th Golden Globes. Mortensen even went on to research tattoos within the Russian mafia, making sure he had them where they needed to be and what they all meant. It even scared locals who initially saw him with these tattoos, but learned his lesson and never left filming without washing them off. The finesse Cronenberg used with this film truly is beautiful, while Mortensen and Watts provide the right amount of tension and charisma to their characters, while the score adds to the intensity of the story. Make sure to enjoy this on Google Play, Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango before it's too late. Number 5. Snatch. Guy Ritchie wrote and directed this 2000 crime comedy featuring Jason Statham, Alan Ford, and Brad Pitt, following 2 different plots that eventually come together. We follow a boxer who ends up having to serve the local gang in carrying out various violent crimes, while that same gang is trying to find a rather large diamond in hopes for a good payday. We all know that Jason Statham plays this badass, kick some ass, questions later kind of guy. That's just his character in every film, but to put him back in London was a smart choice. The underworld in the UK is a little different than it is in America. Most of our underworld has made it to positions of power in our government, but I digress. The film received a lot of positive reviews, citing the storytelling, uniqueness of characters, and plot. However, some contradicted that theory, claiming it was a similar concept in Ritchie's previous film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. However, it's a hilarious film with lots of one-liners and great timing for punchlines. But I have to say, the dog is my favorite character. It's said that the dog, Bo, was the most difficult to work with, as during a car scene, he actually bit one of the actors. Somehow or another, each time you see this dog, his face alone says a lot of what audiences may be thinking. So take a trip and check this out on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango at your earliest convenience. Number 6. Legend. 2015 brought us a biographical drama written and directed by Brian Helgeland, which was adapted from the novel The Profession of Violence, The Rise and Fall of the Cray Twins by John Pearson. Ronnie and Reggie Cray were involved in so many crimes during their reign with the gang, The Firm, during the late 1950s, until they were eventually caught and convicted to life sentences in 1968. The film goes on to follow their relationship with each other and their crimes, all the way through to their convictions. And yeah, it's a drama, so we know some things are over-dramatized, but that doesn't take away from a brilliant story based on real events. It's interesting to see how Helgeland was able to portray paranoid schizophrenia in such a way that doesn't bring out more negativity to the mental health crisis, but more so how those around them can be more to blame than just brain chemistry. Many say that the film is a bit flawed, but honestly, Tom Hardy as Reggie and Ronnie Cray is the best thing you'll ever see. Interesting fact for you, Hardy wanted to play Ronnie with a passion that he ended up getting the role and then portraying Reggie for free. Hardy was even nominated for many awards for Best Actor, winning 3 of them. I also find it kind of interesting that Helgeland boasted about hanging out with an acquaintance of the Cray brothers at one of their normal hangouts, drinking and shooting the shit. To me, that's a little weird, but that might just be a me thing. Either way, the film is something you'll have to witness for yourself and enjoy Hardy's performance over on Google Play, Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango. Number 7, Lawless. Based on Matt Bondurant's historical novel, The Wettest County in the World, we get this 2012 gangster film directed by John Hillcoat, starring Shia LaBeouf, Tom Hardy, Gary Oldman, and Guy Pearce. From 1920 until 1933, probably the longest 13 years in history, America was dealing with the Prohibition era. Moonshiners were very popular at the time due to their ability to run alcohol to its consumers. And 3 brothers, Jack, Forrest, and Howard, are in the midst of a very successful time for their family. They also had their fair share of problems when Forrest refuses to pay a corrupt, ruthless cop, Charlie Rakes, played by Pierce. While the film depicts the tumultuous time for the Bondurant brothers, it's a different take on typical gangster films. Spoiler alert, they all live. Typically in these kinds of films, the bad guys lose, usually their life or freedom. But each of these brothers went on to own successful businesses and had families of their own. So taking into account the way alcohol was stripped from its citizens, only to have these bootleggers providing them in a very trying time, goes to show that sometimes the wrong thing might just be the right thing. This film intrigued me more than others considering the accuracy of what people went through and felt. Sure, there's a lot of violence, but who isn't watching for that aspect? Like so many other films, critics were on the fence, but it's based off the tales from Matt Bondurant's grandfather and 2 great uncles, and a conspiracy theory that lives on in Franklin County, Virginia to this day. So grab a drink and check this out on Pluto, Plex, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8, Blood In, Blood Out. Taylor Hackford directed this 1993 epic crime drama that became a cult classic. Initially, the film only released in 30 theaters on April 30th, 1993, and was delayed in other cities, primarily LA, due to fear of a repeat on riots before the verdict was handed down on the LA Police Department for beating Rodney King. I won't go into that trial, but it's something to look into if you're curious. Anyway, the film follows 3 people from 1972 until 1984, where they start out in a gang in East LA, and all the choices they make which change everything for them, including their relationships. Yet again, critics claim this story as a snooze fest. But let's be real, there's more violence and real people. The film was mostly shot around LA, but the prison scenes are really from inside San Quentin State Prison, with real inmates as extras. However, the film really shows the link between abusive families and how far one is willing to go to get the acceptance they need, even if it's with questionable people. The main character has been dealing with an abusive father and finally fights back, but lands into the lap of Vatos Locos, a fictional gang. I also like that they added art to the film, including murals and other works that have been done, really taking on the tone of art is therapy for some. You will not want to miss this one, so head on over to Hulu or Disney Plus and give this a go. Number 9, The Usual Suspects. The Writers Guild of America gave The Usual Suspects an honorable ranking at number 35 for greatest screenplay of all time. And honestly, with the twists, mysteries, and performances, it's hard to deny that. Kevin Spacey and Stephen Baldwin star in this 1995 crime thriller directed by Bryan Singer. This is not your average gangster film, as we are told the story in an interrogation room, while small-time con man Dean relives his most recent endeavors that led him to a boat and a mysterious crime lord. The Usual Suspects went on to win several awards for Best Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. I have to note that Roger Ebert did not like this film, but there's really not much he does like, so we take anything he says with a grain of salt, especially considering this film is shot and edited just right to leave audiences on the edge of their seats, only to be taken aback when the twist is revealed. I won't spoil it, but it's in my top 10 favorite twists I didn't see coming. Spacey as Roger Verbalnit is probably his best role at the time, and one of the twists outside of the film is that writer Christopher McQuarrie wrote that part specifically with Spacey in mind. So we know now that this part is really made for him. This is one of my absolute favorite films, mainly for the mystery, but I believe you'll love it too if you haven't seen it. But make sure to take some time to revisit this award-winning film over on MGM Plus, Max, Hulu, Sling, Roku, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10, Road to Perdition. 2002 brought us this crime drama directed by Sam Mendes, written by David Self, based on the DC graphic novel of the same name, starring Tom Hanks, Jude Law, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Stanley Tucci, Daniel Craig, and Paul Newman in his final live-action film. This film was nominated for many awards, winning mostly for Best Cinematography, which I have to say is an understatement. The way the film is shot, the angles of the views, really add to the feel of the film, bringing the intensity and sorrow of the characters more prominent than what's expected. Road to Perdition also received a lot of critical praise, as many felt that the bond between father and son is shown quite admirably throughout. We follow a mob enforcer who takes his son on a path of revenge towards the ones that killed the rest of his family. Tom Hanks' personality as Michael Sullivan is spot on, knowing where to be tough and vengeful, but yet teaching his son ways to survive in this cruel world. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this film back in 2002, I was utterly confused. But after a few watches, I finally understood what was going on and respected the film for everything it has to offer. It's one that should be on your watch list, if it's not already. But if you have seen it, you can always check it out again over on Paramount Plus, Roku, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at Studios Fat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.